I know you're on tour, so we appreciate you getting up
That's
at
all right.
ungodly hour.
Where are you tonight?
Tonight, I'm not anywhere, but tomorrow I'm in... Well, I'm here. I'm in London. But I am not. I don't go to cyberspace, but I am in Worthing tomorrow, and then Cardiff, and then Reading, and all over the country.
What is the pace of a tour like? I mean, it's hard graft, isn't it?
Oh, it's hard graft. I thought you meant how fast do we drive between venues. It is quite hard graft, especially as you get older, I'm afraid. Like, when I was younger, I did a lot of stand-up, and I sort of didn't notice that being on stage for 2 hours was at all tiring. But now I am tired after it. But it's also a very emotional show. I mean, it's a funny show, but it does get quite emotional.
Deeply personal for you.
Deeply personal, and quite, by the end of it, I feel I have given everything. And the great thing about it is people feel like they are, like people I don't know. It's a strange thing, in a way, to go on every night and talk to strangers about your late mother's sex life and your dad's dementia. But at the end of it, because stand-up at some level, it is meant to be about, let me tell you about myself and my real life. That
and it's liberating for other people,
Well, apparently it seems to be, because people want to tell me about their stuff always after the show. So that's nice, but it feels like a great big cathartic therapy session for all of us.
We've had a big debate this morning about this ridiculous ongoing scandal of Labour and anti-Semitism and so on.
Jews are considered to be all the sorts of things that racists say about all racists, you know, stinking and vermin and all the horrible things they say. But there's this one particular thing that Jewish people have, which is they're also in control, and they have all the money, and they're sort of globally powerful, and all that kind of nonsense, which are all racist myths. That means that there's a small section of the left that feel that it is part of fighting the good fight to have a go at the Jews. So there's this weird overlap
this kind of smashing capitalism and
the
conspiracy theory about who
As a Labour man yourself, what do you want Jeremy Corbyn to do that he's clearly not doing?
Well, I should say I vote Labour. I'm not a member of the party,
right.
So I can't really tell them what to do. But what I think seems to be happening at the moment is they are a political party, so they have all this bureaucracy that they go on about. So when a bunch of Jewish people, who represent some Jews, I should say that those Board of Deputies people, they only represent some Jews. There's lots of different opinions. You get 2 Jews, you get 17 opinions, right? But they do seem to just say, oh, well, we have to deal with this relationship or comparison with the Windrush thing. And the Windrush thing is a whole different thing, right, in terms of actually what the type of racism involved is. But the passion should be more or less the same, because we should combat racism in all ways, in equal ways. And I think the problem is, and this is a problem, and I'm going to say it because no one else really says it, is there's a notion, I think, that anti-Jewish racism isn't quite as important.
Right.
Because there's this myth that Jews are like, they're moneyed and they're privileged and they're kind of OK. And so really, let's worry about that after we've dealt with racism.
And that's a very dangerous thing.
It's incredibly dangerous because, of course, the truth is, my grandparents, right, they were in Germany before the war. They were rich, OK, some Jews are rich. They lost everything and all their family was murdered. So it doesn't matter how rich you assume Jews are, whether you're racist or... The fact is, racism shouldn't involve that. You have to be anti-racist, whatever your notions are of the comfort of the group that's being attacked.
Let's just switch to another topic. Dale Winton very sadly died last week.
That is quite a switch.
Well, it is, but, I only
on this programme, we switch between subjects in a matter of moments.
I bring it up because we both knew him, and he was a wonderful, larger-than-life character.
Dale was very flirty with me, and he once gave me a copy of his autobiography, saying, basically, he wrote in it, if you ever change your mind, meaning about your sexuality, please let me be the first. You know I adore you, right? And I've done jokes about that in the past. I'm a comedian. That's a funny thing. I'm going to do jokes about it. But I tweeted at the page, and then I said, the day after he died, such a pity that I never was the first, right? And then next thing I know, there are headlines in the paper essentially saying, unrequited love for David Baddiel, cause of Dale's heartbreak. And that's kind of unpleasant.
He was tormented, really. And I think he was his childhood was very traumatic. His parents both died when he was very young. And he just seemed like actually quite a lonely guy in the end, which for somebody so gregarious and so beloved.
Generous, it seems, as well, with his...
I mean, he was very flirty with me. I don't know, you just told me before we went on that you snogged him once.
Well, no, I wrote... He rang me up once. Oh,
those conversations off air, which never made it to air.
I was going to say the story. He rang me once. It was hilarious. And said, Piers, I think you're wonderfully talented and handsome and I love you. And I put this in my diaries when I left the paper world, and I just put at the end, I feel slightly unnerved by this. And about 3 months after publication, Dale was in the Ivy, and I went in there with my literary agent, and he stormed over and said, all my friends are talking about nothing else but that paragraph you put in your diaries, right? And then started laughing. And I said, well, whatever you do, don't start kissing me in here, Dale. At which point he grabbed me in the middle of the Ivy, in front of everybody, and just began snogging me, tongues and all, for several very long, lingering seconds.
It sounds like you enjoyed it.
You know what? A little part of me was like, it's not Baddiel.
Yeah, got one up on Dick.
But no, it was very sad, because I really felt when I saw him, he'd come through everything, and then clearly...
it was really sad. It was a really sad, and I didn't actually know him that well, but he always seemed like a really sweet bloke when I met him.
He was a sweet guy.